Hey guys, Zane from the Infinite Jukebox here with another quick album review, and today I wanted to talk about the new Icona Pop record, Club Romantech. Get it? Romantech? Romantech? Oh boy, we have fun here. A full decade after their last full-length studio album, this is Icona Pop, featuring the massive smash hit Charlie XCX collaboration, I Love It. A comeback album from Icona Pop is not the thing that I was expecting in 2023, and I think I speak for most people when I say I had largely forgotten about their very existence. I mean, not to disrespect them or anything, but just based on how associated with the early 2010s they are and how different current pop trends are from what they were a decade ago, it just doesn't seem like the most likely thing in the world, but hey, more power to them. Despite the fact that they have been consistently releasing singles since their last studio album, Icona Pop really do feel like a product of their era of pop music, and even though it was only a decade ago, it may as well be a century ago. Things are so wildly different now, which leads one to question, will things, be different on this album? Will they reinvent themselves? Will they go in a Sophie hyperpop, deconstructed pop music direction? And the answer is no, absolutely not. They do distance themselves from this electro house sound that they used to primarily indulge in, but at the same time, nothing feels fresh here. Really, the vast majority of Club Romantech is just based around the corny house techno influences that Icona Pop has sort of always been associated with. I mean, songs like Stick Your Tongue Out and Need You, maybe they'd be fun at a rave. Maybe. Or maybe they would be better if they were remixed by someone with good ability to do such a thing. But as they stand, just as they are incredibly flaccid on wax. The closest that this record comes to being fun, per se, is when it completely steps away from the festival tier style of house music that's being delivered here. But even then, those cuts, such as, for example, Stockholm at Night, they still feel boring and uninteresting, and they don't do anything remotely distinct with themselves to really make them stand out from the crowd. They just feel less like 2013 pop music and like really boring 2023 pop music. I mean, above all else, Icona Pop's work here is just wildly unfun, and for a record that's meant to be high energy and danceable, it is absolutely anything but. The instrumentals bleed together with their lack of creativity. There are just so few memorable choruses, if any, throughout this entire record for a listener to really seek their teeth into, and ultimately the duo's refusal to be even remotely versatile results in a slog of an album, even though it barely cracks the 40-minute mark. I would more easily get through Soundtracks for the Blind by Swans before I could get through this album a billionth time. I mean, really, for the sake of this channel this year, I've listened to albums that have been a solid hour, 2 hours, multiple times for the sake of review, and this is probably one of the worst albums to have repeated listens to in my experience. Not because it's the worst thing in the world or anything, but because it just takes such a long, grating time to get through, a time that is at least 3 times the length that it actually is. I guess you could also make a pretty fair argument that including songs that have been released many years ago, like Spa, for example, is lazy and slapdash at best, and you know what, it is, but at the same time, your chances of having heard a post-2013 Icona Pop song are already pretty unlikely, so you probably haven't heard it, so I guess it's not that big of a deal in the end, but it definitely shows a lack of enthusiasm for the creation of this record. Look, I don't think that anyone in their right mind would expect a great Icona Pop album in 2023, but at the same time, I also feel like this is a masterclass in how not to make house-based pop music in the modern day. I think that they really had a chance to reinvent themselves and reintroduce themselves to the musical world, and they absolutely blew it. Club Romantech may not be the worst thing in the world. It's not even the worst album I've heard this week, but at the same time, you would be hard-pressed to find a more dull, uninspired, and just downright boring pop album this year. I'm going to give this record 2 stars out of 5. And with that being said, that is the end of this quick album review. I've been Zane from the Infinite Jukebox. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.